Ashes of Creation is dead. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have that much hopes for this MMORPG. It really didn't look that good. It was full of controversy after controversy. The combat was okay, I guess, but the ambition on this game meant that it would never actually come out. It was just not possible. The game that they wanted was a fantasy that would never come to fruition. And well, now with the CEO resigning and the entirety of the studio being laid off, yeah, it's completely over. There is no way this could ever go back to being developed and, well, us actually getting our game. How is this possible? How is it possible that this MMORPG that was fully funded by us with the backing of a, well, multimillionaire, Steven Sharif, that wanted this game to come out is cancelled? What happened? I thought that he had the power to prevent stuff like this from happening. How did he resign? Why did this happen? And can we get refunds? Well, there's a lot to it and a lot that people are not really talking about and I think missing the point of this entire situation. So let's go through exactly the information that we have so not only we can know what to do right now in case that you did indeed fund this project, but also so this never happens again because, man, we kind of do have to stop with this. Now, as soon as this news break out, Steven, the CEO, that you probably know because he always appears in many streams from many people, he was always there playing the game and being in chat, giving away mounts and codes and everything. He definitely liked being in the spotlight. Well, he came into the Discord and made the following statement. I can make a limited statement in my personal capacity and not on behalf of the company regarding the situation. Control of the company shifted away from me, and the board began directing actions that I could not ethically agree with or carry out. As a result, I chose to resign in protest rather than lend my name or authority to decisions I could not ethically support. Following my resignation, much of the senior leadership team resigned. Following those departures, the board made the decision to issue Warn Act notices and proceed with mass layoffs. I cannot responsibly speak to further details at this time due to ongoing legal and governance matters. What I can say is that the developers and staff acted in good faith and deserved better than the uncertainty that they're now facing. I'm incredibly dismayed by the situation. And honestly, the only part that I can actually agree with him is that the developers and staff acted in good faith and deserve better than the uncertainty that they're now facing. But realistically, that uncertainty is because of the management and the leadership that Steven and his peers ended up acting on. How is it possible that a fully funded project that had a multimillionaire, CEO that was willing to spend money on the game and to develop it ended up losing power to the board? What board? I thought this was funded by us with the $600+ early access keys and the Steam release and the skins that were being sold before the game was even out. I thought that was what the money was for. How is this ever possible that this could happen? And this is obviously assuming that the board actually exists. But we'll talk about that later. And thank you, Jay Oddity, for the meme. Realistically, this happening in the way that it did is proof that the leadership of this project was completely incompetent. The fact that this could happen to them, that they can lose power of their own project that is supposedly fully funded, is just no. That should not be able to happen. And 250 people losing their jobs because of this mismanagement is just absolutely disgusting behavior from them. And that's without thinking about the players who actually backed this project up. Some of them that still believe in this. I mean, look at this. Look at this comment. I still hope that this is not the end. Margaret Kron, the main community manager of Intrepid Studio, saying the whole studio was laid off, ... He's being like, dude, are you serious? Like, did you not read what happened here? Like, it's over. Like, stop coping, please. And yeah, there is a new owner, but apparently she was a co-founder of Vema, a company that sold dietary supplements. The company was shut down in 2015 by the FTC for engaging in deceptive practices and being a pyramid scheme. And if you really wanted to buy this out, you wouldn't literally fire everybody who knows how the game works. That makes no sense. this game is not gonna come back. Maybe if it becomes open source, people that really like the game can fix it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if that's gonna end up happening. And don't think that someone is going to buy this project like, for example, Hytale got bought or Alistair McFlane is trying to buy New World. There's no way. Those games are kind of finished. They're actual games. This is like not even close to being done. So yeah, not going to happen, guys. And I do think it's important to note because, look, guys, Ashes of Creation was a red flag from the start. The game just, I guess it could have some potential, but it was full of controversies all the time. It didn't run well. It's just everything about it. Even Steven being part of this multi-marketing schemes or whatever before this project where he actually made his money is incredibly suspicious. The early access, everything about it. If you came in here believing that this game would actually have a huge chance of coming out, especially after all these things happening, I think you might have to look inward and be like, do I have to be more careful where I put my trust in things? And, just talk it out with someone, with one of your friends. It's like, hey, what do you think? Like, next time that you want to invest yourself into something like this, be a bit more careful because there was a lot of signs that this was not going well. But okay, let's try and figure out what actually happened here because there's a lot of information. Steven alleges that he lost control of the company. Okay, so if he lost control of the company, some other people had to have invested in this project that was supposedly self-funded by him as a CEO and by us by buying the early access and all this other stuff. But that is actually not true. A year ago, we actually got this post talking about how multiple investors were inside of Interpret Studios, people who are actually paying to be part of this cake that is the business of this MMORPG. And this one was known for a good amount of time. We know that Yaya Holdings had 10% of the company, which is definitely very significant. And it is also shown in this Reddit post that there was a lot of debt from Interpret Studios and multiple lawsuits happening even a year ago that could indeed have made it so the biggest investor took over the company. Now, there's also this document floating around where it shows that the main officers, chief executive officer and secretary and chief financial officer are Steven Sharif and his husband. And that's it. Many people using this as proof that there was no investors as they would have to be listed here. But for what I have gathered, even though you can indeed put investors in here from the board of directors, you can put them. You don't have to if you're a private company. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a lawyer, especially in terms of United States law, but considering that we know that there were investors with 10% of the company in equity, yeah, this seems like it checks out. But okay, does that mean that he's actually not at fault and he got rug pulled out of his own company because, oh no, he needed to make this business decisions because otherwise the project would have been dead? No, I think that is complete cope. Yeah, it might be that he lost control and the board did something he didn't want to happen, but there was zero reason for him to have investors in this company. Do you guys remember the alpha accesses? Multiple of them from plus $100 each. Do you guys remember this? Was all of these different skins that if you didn't purchase back in the day, you could never ever get them, and they were not even in the game? Like, where did all this money go? Like, what the fuck? And one of the biggest upsides of Ashes of Creation was that the CEO had a lot of money that he wanted in investing into this game himself, so he would have the power. So what happened with that? He just gave up on it? Or did he realize that this wasn't going nowhere and ended up using these investors to recoup a little bit of the money that he was losing, if not all of it? I think it's a bit clear which one of them it is. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that this person has been the epitome of truth. Just 9 days ago, we got a layoff of 9 people out of a team of 250, and he says that this will not be a reflection of the health of the future of Ashes of Creation, which obviously now, well, that's not true. And there's no way that he didn't know that this kind of stuff was happening behind the scenes, that whoever the investors were, if they indeed exist, and it's not actually just him, we're not telling him, oh, dude, we're making no money. This is not going to work. We need to do something. If you don't do something, we're going to cancel this project. There's no shot this wasn't happening behind the scenes. So to come in here and be like, guys, no, I lost the company power, guys. There was nothing I could have done. I had to leave as a sign of protest, guys. I didn't want my name or authority to support unethical actions. Well, what do you think this is? Do you think this is ethical? And speaking of ethical, people that backed this project up gonna be able to get refunds? I mean, it has only been on Steam for a month and a half, and it's already, getting cancelled. Well, sadly, because this game did get launched on Steam, and the launcher already counts as time from installing the game. If you play this, it's going to be very, very hard, even if you just installed it, to actually be able to get a refund, which it does definitely suck. But Darren's, they said that in the case that Ashes of Creation does not launch, they promise to refund all backers in full. And that is indeed true. This is part of the Kickstarter. But technically, it did launch on Steam. It was early access, but it did launch. So, unlucky, I guess. I would not be surprised if one of the reasons why they actually launched on Steam was in order to be able to say, hey, it's not illegal for us to not refund you because we did launch the game. The Backstarter was successful. We made the game, we launched it, here it is. Go play it. Oh, it's not gonna be developed anymore? Well, doesn't matter. That was never part of the Kickstarter, guys. So, Lamau, you lose. The timeline is indeed kind of crazy. Kickstarter fully funded. Everybody gets in because even if they need money, they can just take it from the CEO. Many dramas, many early access, very expensive alphas, a lot of skins that never came into the game. They were very, very expensive. Lawsuits started happening. Investors started getting pulled in. And when you realize, oh shit, this is a complete disaster, you release it on Steam so you can just get out of it and keep all of the money without having to refund anybody. Yeah, that is absolute cinema. Jesus Christ. But honestly, guys, I don't think that's actually what happened. I don't think this was all planned. I think Steven actually wanted to make an MMO. He's just very incompetent. Never attributes to Malice what you can just attribute to being a little dum-dum. And this is a little bit proven, I think, by some things that don't make sense with this plan. For example, I don't know if you guys know, but there's an official content creator program where the more affiliate links you sell to other players and stuff, the more money you make. But, well, there's a big caveat to the money that would be paid to you in this regard. All this money would only get paid to the content creators if the game launched. If the game never launches, they don't get any money at all from Intrepid, even though they technically worked for them as advertisers. So they're kind of stuck here. If they allege that the game did not launch, well, they can not pay the content creators, but then they would have to refund everybody who was a backer, which sounds like a lot more money. But in the other way around, yeah, if you say that the game did launch, you don't have to pay the backers, but then you have to pay the content creators, which is also a lot of money. So, well, what do you do? I guess it all depends on which one is more easy to defend in court. If that ended up happening, even though it's probably not going to happen. I'm guessing all these content creators did indeed sign some sort of NDA or some sort of contract in order to be part of this affiliate link to get paid or whatever, right? So whatever that is could be maybe used against Intrepid Studios to say, hey, we need to, you need to pay all this to us right now. Maybe it's a bit easier than to allege something about the game not being launched and the Kickstarter. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I guess that's some legal stuff that, I have no idea how it would end up working, especially in terms of legality of the United States. But guys, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's very important for everybody who was a backer to ask for the refunds anyways. Give the pressure. Yes, technically they can use this excuse, but do it anyways. Because if they start saying that they can't get your refund, then that means that they will have to pay the content creators. And if they pay the content creators, which I'm sure that indeed they will ask for the money, well, you can also then get your refund. So I think pressure is very important here. Everybody should be doing their part to pressure this company, this new CEO, whatever, to get your money back. Maybe nothing happens, but we have power on this and we should use it, because if you don't, maybe they're just hoping that nobody tries to refund and therefore they don't have to make a statement one way or the other and just get away with it. Don't let them. Ask for what is rightfully yours. And considering that they already got a lawsuit for $850,000, that they said that, well, there's nothing to worry about that one, yeah? Yeah, this whole thing could indeed getting some legal repercussions. Apparently, Stephen's house was indeed sold around the same time as the $850K lawsuit, so maybe he indeed ended up using this money to pay it off. Which I guess you could say that it's like a bit sad that he's selling his own stuff to maintain the project. But look, that's not an excuse. The mismanagement of this project, the amount of people that he hired, and now they don't have any work. This is the responsibility of being a leader. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be getting into this type of business. It's just what it is. And lying around it, not telling us the truth that he's getting more investors and not being transparent about it, while also randomly putting this game on Steam for no reason, even though it's not ready to be able to, well, most likely not have to get refunds, and then losing the entire company because of these investors that you yourself put in order to not waste your own money. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, this is just... look, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And sadly, in a business like this, you just can't do this kind of stuff. It's just... yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's a complete disaster. It's honestly one of the biggest shit shows I've ever seen in my life. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know. Like, there's going to be documentaries about this, I'm sure. But there you go. I mean, can we really know exactly what happened? I'm sure we'll know very, very soon. And if there's anything that I can say about it that I find interesting or something that people are not really covering, I'll definitely make another video. I don't want to make the same stuff everybody is doing. Classification is dead. Yeah, I know. Like, everybody's talking about it, okay? I did this because I think I had a little bit of a different way of looking at it. Hopefully this helped you. And if I got anything wrong, guys, let me know in the comments down below. A very interesting whole thing. And yeah, I don't know. Of course, this is all speculation. We can't really know for sure what happened, but I'm sure very soon we'll know. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you guys around. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.